Joined by Robbie Deas. Robbie, thanks a lot for coming on, mate. How you doing?
Not a problem, mate. I'm good. Just enjoying my wee day off today, and the heat's kind of getting a wee bit better. But no, I'm good.
I just want to start off by asking what your early football memories are.
To be fair, I think I've got to be just try to think. I played. I used to always remember my dad used to take my brother's team, the Inverness Colts, and I used to go to every training session and just like be that annoying wee brother that used to always want to join in that. So I then joined the Inverness Colts team, just my local boys club team, but I was like two years above myself. I don't know how old I would have been. I would have been young anyway, and I played a season there before joining Blue Brazil, Cowdenbeath team, and I played there for 3 years. I was just football daft when I was younger, to be fair. I obviously I've got like quite a big football background, but my uncle played professional, my dad played at a good level, my brother's a really good player, so like we're all just football daft. So like ever since I can remember, I was just all about football. I used to be a glory hunter. I was a Man U fan when I was younger, so like I just loved football.
And how did you end up joining Celtic?
So I think I was like 11 or 10 or 11, and you know, like a lot of like they do like football festivals for like boys clubs.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was at Blue Brazil, I was doing an Ayr, and we played like it's like a weekend thing. Like you play I don't know how many games, and I got scouted there. And then my dad never told me about any of that sort of stuff, though. He kind of kept it to himself. And then one day he just kind of said like, "Oh look, he said Celtic want to if you to come along and train and see if you enjoy it," sort of thing. And at that time, like I wasn't that, didn't think much of it. I was just like, oh, this is cool, like just whatever. So went through with my dad, trained. I was a left winger back then.
Left winger?
I was a left winger back when I was younger. I know it's hard to believe, but I used to be quick. But I probably trained with them for a month. We'd go through twice a week. I played a couple of games. Actually, you know what? I played one game, and then they asked me to sign. And I was, straight away, I was like, yeah. So I would have been 11-year-old at the time. So that's how I ended up joining Celtic.
Getting closer towards like the first team and reserve age, is there anyone that I would know that came through in your team at the same time as you?
Yeah, well, we had a really good team at my age. Like Ewan Henderson is at Hibs, Stephen Welsh is in the Celtic first team now, Jack Aitchison scored when he was 16, he's at Barnsley. Kerr McInroy's at Kilmarnock. We've got Daniel Church plays at Alloa now. Grant Savoury's at Queen's Park. Like there's a good bunch of boys, but that was my age, and we all played together when I first joined. They were all there. And then just a year above me, I played at Resi's in 12s, like Mikey Johnston, Calvin Miller, Regan Hendry, Anthony Ralston played with him a few times. So like I've played with a good amount of boys that are playing at a good level. Like,
was there any first team players that took an interest in the youth teams or that at that point?
Not overly. I can't really. I don't think so. Like a lot of what's mad about Celtic is the amount of first team players they've actually got.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was very like not very often you got to train with the first team. It would normally be like the day after. So they say they played like a league game on the Saturday. On the Sunday, you'd maybe get the chance to train with the first team boys that never played. But like it's difficult at Celtic because like the first team have got their own changing room in their own sort of area, whereas the Resis are at like the other side of the building and train it like on the Astro, and where the first team train is like the other side of the training facility. So like you don't very often get a chance to, and especially when you're young, I was quite like quiet compared to most of the Glasgow boys and that, because I'm not from that way. So wasn't like overly confident just to go up to any first team boy and say like speak to them, if you know what I mean. But like when I got older, I got to that stage, like I started to speak, like if I got the opportunity I'd speak to them, and like they were actually really good, like Kieran Tierney and the likes of Callum McGregor, like Ryan Christie and that, like they're all very good at, like, if you did actually speak to them and grew a set and spoke to them, they're really good, especially like in the gym and that.
And going on loan to Cowdenbeath, that must have been a bit of a culture shock for you.
I absolutely loved my time at Cowdenbeath. It was one of my favourite things was I was kind of going into the unknown because it kind of came about at the Iron Brew Cup. It was like the first time playing again. We played Annan, we got beat 3-1, and I think it was 3-1 anyway. And I got absolutely like thrown about the whole game. There's a boy, Swinglehurst, still plays there, very good. And I remember just getting thrown about. And my dad said to me, he was like, you need to deal with that sort of thing. And it kind of came about, and I was like, well, I'm a centre half. At this point, I was my defender at this point. I was like, I need to be able to deal with this. So my dad kind of said, we spoke about it. And I went in and asked, and the opportunity got Cowdenbeath, which is more or less local for me. And it was a big wake up. I mind my first training session, I got my nose burst open. But no, it was brilliant. Just like, it's what football's about. Like on a Saturday, this is what it's about. You training for the game on the Saturday. Like you're playing for, like, it was massive that time because Cowdenbeath the season before had just scraped staying up with the playoffs. So like they were like deemed upon as probably like favourites to go down again. So like I just enjoyed it so much. Like I didn't start my first two games didn't start, and then I started against Albion Rovers was my first game, and then I played every game since. And just loved it. Like Gary Boland was absolutely brilliant with me, and Mark Fotherham and Flax, like just were always helping me. And like I never really got a rollicking before, like shouted at. And then I remember we played Elgin away, and it was my fault. I basically got our goalie sent off because I'd done such like a bad header back to him, and I remember water bottle cones going everywhere in the changing room after that, and I was just like, never had this before, never really got it at Celtic, so it was just mental. But no, Cowdenbeath I've kind of got a special place for because like they took me in first, and we done really well. And it's actually a shame to see where they are now in the Lowland League, and I hope they do come back because it is a great club with great people behind it. It's just a shame how it happened.
How much do you think the loan at Cowdenbeath and Alloa helped you become the player you are now?
Oh, massively. I would, if I ever spoke to somebody and they said a young player and they were like what's the best to do? I would say go out and play, go out on loan and get games and play, because the reserve football, it's all good at like a young age at like 16, 17, but there comes a time where like you need to be playing against men to get better, especially for me as a defender, and playing alongside like good seasoned pros. Like when I was at Alloa, I had Andy Graham, Scott Taggart, like all these boys, very, very good players that have had a great career, and they helped me a lot so much. And I learned so much from, like, it was kind of one extreme to the other. At Cowdenbeath, it was like about defending, like we're second ball was like not much football was played, but then I went into an Alloa team where Peter Grant had us playing like proper football, taking the ball with pressure. I jumped up like 2 leagues at the time, so it was a bit of a like not scared, but like it took me a good like couple of months to get used to it. But I do think it has made me a lot better player, and I've learned so much and just try to take it all in at the same time. So if I could tell anyone to do that sort of thing, go out alone, I would tell them like.
After that loan spell at Alloa, the time comes where you're leaving Celtic. Is that tough to take? Tough decision?
No, not really. Like I still had a year of my contract at the time at Celtic, and COVID hit, and kind of made my mind up when the first team were coming back. It was only going to be like the first team boys and any like resis that they needed, and I never got picked. And that's when I knew like, nah, if I can get away, like I want to move on. I want to be playing week in, week out. Like I don't want to be seen as a young boy. And I spoke to my agent, spoke to my dad. I'm lucky enough, I've got like a good footballing background that I can speak to them all. And I had the opportunity came. I had a few offers to go could have stayed went to Dunfermline, which is I grew up supporting Dunfermline, or Rafe Rovers, and then Inverness, and I was at that point. I don't know if it was because of lockdown, but I was wanting to move out and kind of grow up, if you know what I mean. So when the opportunity came to Inverness, I kind of was like, nah, it's a no-brainer. Like, so when it came to Celtic, I don't support Celtic, and I love my time at the club. It's like it's mental how big Celtic is. Like, I never knew how big it was until I was there. But I had like I was just like focused on myself, like what I wanted to do. It was obviously sad. I've got some friends for life that I've played with and that, and I still speak to them. But I wasn't that upset or anything. I was more excited because I was like, for me, leaving Celtic, I was leaving Celtic reserves to go play with Inverness, so I was making a step up, and that's the way I looked at it.
You were saying about the move to Inverness. You said you just wanted to grow up. Was there any other factors that you ended up taking into consideration?
To be fair, John Robertson, who was the manager at the time, I spoke to him, and he just kind of like filled me a lot of confidence, and like seen me as like his left side centre half, and like you could see in Inverness's track record, they've got a good. They're good at like bringing boys on and boys kicking on at the next level, which obviously I know everyone wants to do. So probably that, and the fact that like Inverness, I know it's remote, and you don't get any like what's it? Like you just focus on the football. There's not any distractions of that, which at that time I was just like, well, that's what I want to do. So that was really it. And obviously like wanting to move, like I was wanting to move away and like kind of grow up and like, you know what I mean? Because I was living at home still with mum and dad, and I was just ready to move out sort of thing. And Inverness gave me that extra platform to do that. So I think that was probably one of the main factors as well.
You spoke about John Robertson there. He seems like an absolute legend. What's he like?
He's good. He's really good, Robbo. Like he'll speak for days. Just like he'll talk away to you. He'll help you, and he's still at the club. He's the sporting director, and he'll always have the time to come speak to you. And he's brilliant. I've got a lot of time for him, and he's got a lot of time for me. And I appreciated him and bringing me to the club and kind of having faith in me to kind of. I was young at the time and come and play when he was there week in, week out. So he's brilliant. He's really, really good. And obviously he's a legend in the game. So it's nice to have somebody like him around the club helping you.
And see, from like since you joined to now, what's been the aims each season pretty much? Has it always been to try and get back to the Prem?
Yeah, look, Inverness is a massive club. It's got some amazing history. So for us to be in the champ as long as we have, it's not great. And obviously everyone's seen how close we came last year to doing it. And I think obviously with County being in the Prem and doing so well, and especially last year, it's just kind of we need to start doing that. And I think we know that as a team and as a club. And I think I think you ken yourself how hard the championship actually is. Like anyone beats anyone, no matter who it is.
League.
Yeah, it is, but it's exciting at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, look, I think every season it's been promotion, and every season I've been in there for the last two, we've got better and better. We finished fifth my first year, and then obviously third last year. So, hopefully we can finish first this year.
How much do you think you've progressed as a player for like the first day you walked into Inverness?
I'd like to say a lot, to be fair. Obviously I'm 2 years on now, and I've played a lot of games, and I've played centre half and left back, so I've learnt a lot, and I played alongside like some really good players. Like last year I had Broadfoot, got Danny Devine still here, and even boys like Billy Mackay and that. Like I feel just like lucky enough to play with all these really good players and experienced pros. So like I feel like looking back, I've kicked on a lot. I've learnt so much, and I think that comes from playing games. I've been lucky enough. I missed out on one game last year. It was the start of the season, so looking back at it, I've probably done no bad to play the amount of games I have, and it's just kicking on really. Just I think it's important to play games and to play as many as I have at my age. I feel quite lucky. So it's just I've still got a lot to learn. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm one for, like, if I do something wrong, I'll go back and watch it and see what I can do better. So now, like, I think each season I've got better and better, but I still think I've got a lot to come.
See, just on what you said about Kirk Broadfoot there, how big a benefit is it to a young defender playing with an experienced head like that?
Yeah, it's good. It's like you learn so much, like, playing alongside them, but then even after, like, like his, like, way of life, like his lifestyle and that, like, Brothers was always in the gym, like before training and after training, like eating. Like, he would tell me, I was asking loads of questions, like he was telling me the right things to eat, like, and I knew what the right things to eat because I thought I did from my time at Celtic. I was lucky enough to get that education, but like, I remember I was like a bowl of cereal. I can't remember what cereal it was, but I think we were talking about a snack before I got to bed or something. I was just like, oh, just like have toast or like a yogurt and that. And he was like, nah, you should be having porridge. Like, just tell me all these different things I should be having, what I should be having the day before. His Brothers was brilliant for me personally. I think I've learned a lot from him. But his way of life, like, I now know why he's played at the level he did and for how long at his age. Like, he's still playing. Like, last season, I think he's 38 now or 37. I think he's 37, and he's playing in the Champ, nearly getting so close to getting to the Premier League. And obviously he's dropped down. He's playing at Broomhill now, the open goal.
He could still play at a higher level than that.
I think he still could easily play at a higher level, and that's down to his lifestyle. Like, genuinely, like, he's one of the top pro. Like, probably is the top pro I've ever, like, worked with. And
mate, you've brought it up yourself. Left back or centre half? I've seen Inverness fans talking about it. What's your favourite position?
Centre half, like.
Centre half.
I do enjoy. I enjoy being out of left back, but I think centre half's my bread and butter. I think I'm lucky enough I can do a job at both, but I don't probably offer as much going forward when I do play full back. So it depends on the style of play, really. But nah, as weird as I said, like, I was a left winger when I was younger, and then I was a left back, and then at like 15, my coach put me into centre half, and then I was a centre half for there, and I didn't really play left back again until, like, I played a couple of games for Cowdenbeath at left back, and then it wasn't until Neil McCann came in up here and he put me out to left back, and we went on a good run, and then it just kind of just stuck for a while. And but I'm hoping this season to play a lot majority more at centre half, because I do see myself as a centre half, but I'm lucky enough I can do both. Like,
and on to the current manager now, Billy Dodds, seems like another character. What's he like to work under?
Gaffer's good. Got a really good relationship with him. Obviously, I'm lucky enough he played me near enough every game last year, and he's like, I think he just gets me, and I get him, which is good. And I do enjoy playing under him because I feel like I can go and speak to him about anything. He's good like that, and he's got a good relationship with all the boys. But nah, you see how close we came last year, and we went on like it was like 10, 11 game run without a win after Christmas. So, and like, it was hard, but he's just like, he always believed in us the whole time. Like, he just kept on filling us with confidence. So, like, he's been brilliant for me, like, in that sense. He played me every game. Like, I was always allowed to go into the door and ask him questions and things like that. So, like, for me, it's really beneficial having a gaffer that understands me and, like, gets on really well with. And so yeah, no, like, I hope we can do it this season, because that's the goal, and he's made that clear. You see, we've done well in the League Cup, and whereas before in the League Cup, while I've been up here, I've never got out of the group. We've always done really poor. and he made that clear from the first day that like that's not happening. Like we're getting through it, getting out of this group this year, and so like I think we've started well, and it's come from the gaffer. So I've got nothing bad to say about the gaffer, to be fair.
You touched on it there about last season. Obviously good, like amazing getting to the playoff final, but how tough was that to take? And then that must have been horrible.
Oh, physically,
obvious there.
Yeah, physically it was draining. Like 6 games, it's mental, and it was really tough. Even with the extra time in the Arbroath game, it was just mental. I just remember when Brother scored that winning penalty, just felt so emotional. Like never felt that emotion in a game before. Just because like going down to 9 men, it was just mental, and like to then go again in a few days' time to against St Johnstone at home. And I'll be honest, when we were 2-0 down, it was like in that first half, it was like a massive like shock. Like, and then it came into half time, the gaffer spoke to us, and then when we scored the first goal, it just changed it completely. And I think that was what was probably most soul destroying about the 4-0 in the last game, was that we went in at half time feeling we were on top, probably the team that was looked like they were going to score.
Mm-hmm.
And when we lost those 2 goals, it was just like back in the situation we were in the first leg. So I think the third goal just killed it for us, and I kind of showed that the games had caught up. Like 6 games in 3 weeks is a lot after a long season, and it does favour the Premiership team, but it is what it is at the end of the day.
And when you go back into pre-season, this season, we'll start this season, is that forgotten about, or are you using that as motivation?
Nah, definitely motivation. I think the team we've got here, like we all want to be playing at the highest level possible. We want to be playing in the Premiership. So like it was hard to take, obviously, the way we got beat. And we all want to be winning the title and playing again and playing in the Premiership at the end of the day. So it wasn't really spoke about, but I think everyone knows, you know what I mean? Like we don't talk about it, but we're obviously it's in the back of our heads, like, but we know we can do it. I think at the end of the day, I think that's probably what hurts the most, is we know we can do it. So I think that's why this season is important, that we go and do it, really.
And I don't know what to jinx it for you, mate, because it's not done yet, but the League Cup group so far, he's absolutely flying. What do you think the main reason for that
is? Probably a good pre-season. The last 2 pre-seasons, first pre-season, we didn't really have a pre-season because of COVID. Came back in September, and we had to use the League Cup as pre-season friendlies. And then last year, COVID again. I got injured. We had boys missing, so we missed out on the pre-season friendlies before the League Cup. So like my first game was in the League Cup before I'd never even had a friendly. So probably that. So this year we've all had a good pre-season, and the gaffers like made sure that what his intentions are with the League Cup. So not that he didn't before, but I think obviously last year with the COVID and injuries and stuff, whereas this year we've done what we've asked for, really.
Do you prefer these group games rather than having competitive football early on, rather than playing like loads of different friendlies and maybe against teams that are leagues below you and stuff?
Yeah, no, I prefer this. Like it's competitive at the end of the day. Like pre-season friendlies are like you get the minutes in and stuff, but like some boys are like they'll sack it off, or not sack it off, but like go through the motion, you know what I mean? Whereas like you're actually playing for something in the League Cup, and at the end of the day, that's what you want to be. You want to be playing for something. You want to be winning and doing well and advancing. Like obviously playing against better teams. So like us, hopefully we win the group and get the opportunity to play against hopefully like a Premiership team to go and show what we could do, if you know what I mean. Whereas we've not been able to do that the last 2 years.
Do you think it raises the standard the pre-season right for the start as well? The fact that you're playing yourself into the team so early on.
Yeah, definitely. I think that plays a massive part, because then you want to be showing the gaffer you're ready for the season to start, and it is like that at times, that the pre-season friendlies, like Pre-season's hard because like a lot of boys deal with it differently. Like if they're injured or so like they probably don't train as much and aren't as fit as much. But like a pre-season friendly, like it's not as what's the word, like just not as hard compared to like these league cups, and especially like in the heat and stuff. Like the heat, it wasn't even that hot, but it felt absolutely roasting last night. It was raining during the game last night, and I just felt so like tired in that. But it was competitive. It's what you want. So it's a different side of fitness, and like a competitive game's what you're needing.
We spoke about it a wee bit before we started recording, but what's the thoughts? What's your thoughts for this upcoming season in the league?
For us, just I think we should be looking to be challenging again and getting promotion and winning the title. I don't see why not, because we've got a good strong core and we've made some good signings, and I think we've all got the same intentions, which is good. And I think we've all learned for last season, the blip we went through with the 10, 11 games. Not how to deal with it, because these things happen in football at the end of the day. Like teams go through bad runs. So like I think because we've had to deal with it before in the past, that like we'll be able to deal with it probably a wee bit better if and when it happens. So just as I said, we've all got the same intentions and like I've got the same focus, which is good, and it's what you want as a team, really. So it'll just be going for the title.
I'm sure you'll be fine. If it's all right with you, mate, we'll finish off with the quick fire questions.
Not a problem.
Should have pre-warned you about this, but I completely forgot because we were talking about other stuff.
It's all right.
So start off with your best mate in football.
In football, Jack Aitchison probably. I've got a few, but if I had to pick one, it would be Jack Aitchison. Grew up playing with him at Celtic, obviously. So, but I could name off a few, like just like Kerr McInroy and the boys up here. But I'll only go on about it.
The best stadium that you've played in?
Like fans or stadium?
The actual stadium.
I played in Boa Vista in Portugal for Scotland under 19s at the time. And the stadium was just like, felt like the stand was like right above us. It was just mental. Nobody was in the stadium, like no fans, but like I just thought it was just so cool. And obviously it's in the sun as well. So I'd probably have to say Boa Vista Stadium, but I could probably name a few. Like
the best player you've played against?
Phil Foden. Played against him when I was like young, and he was tiny. And I just remember he had these black Umbro boots, and I just remember him. I thought he was playing sitting, but he literally got the ball and just ran all the way through the midfield. He was rapid, and his dribbling was a joke. But I was like, "Who is this guy?" And then like here you are, like 5 years later, and he's like scoring in the Champions League, winning Premier Leagues.
Foden could be one of the biggest shouts I've had, to be fair.
Is it?
It could be. I think someone had Haaland as well.
I've sat on the bench and watched Haaland.
It might have been the same team as you. It was Ryan Porteous for the one in the Scotland.
Aye. Yeah, I was on the bench. Porto, Haaland. I sat on the bench and watched that. He was a joke that game. I'm sure he scored a hat-trick.
Aye, I think he said that as well.
Yeah, it was mental. But Phil Foden, I think, for me.
The biggest moaner that you've played with?
Kirk Broadfoot probably, or Brad Mackay. Brad Mackay's up there. I can name a few. I can actually throw myself up there because I'm bad for moaning. I think a lot of people say the same, but I'm gonna go with Kirk Broadfoot.
Your biggest achievement in football?
I don't know. Just I hope there's.
It doesn't have to be a trophy or anything like that.
Yeah, probably playing for Scotland. I'm big on playing with the country. Like I do support Scotland a lot and follow them. So I'd probably say play for Scotland and scoring for them. But I don't know. I'd probably have to go with that. I've had one so far, but hopefully it'll be one in the league or something.
And lastly, your best five-a-side team of players you've played with and why? You can put yourself in if you like.
I'll be putting myself in. Is that goalie?
You've got a goalie.
I need to get a goalie.
Aye.
Goalie. Probably Dave McGurn when I was at Cowdenbeath, just because I loved him. He was just like...
He was good.
great guy. He like looked after me so well. So probably Dave McGurn. He was actually really good for us when we were at Cowden. And then I'd probably have to put Andy Graham just for pure legacy, how good a guy he is. And he was an absolute joke when I played with him. He was doing like Cruyff turns in the middle of the park and that with his copas on. It was just brilliant. So I put Andy Graham. I'd then have probably Mikey Johnston, Billy Gilmore in midfield. Who else?
You know, putting yourself on left wing.
I put myself. I'd probably put Jack Aitchison because he's my best mate as well. So Jack Aitchison or Hendel, one of the two. Like,
Ideal. I thought you were going to chuck yourself in left wing again then.
Nah, my left wing days are gone. I'm nowhere near that. I could run back then, but no anymore.
I heard if that happens this season, Inverness fans are going to be chucking their season tickets in the water, man.
I would make sure they did as well if that was the case.
Oh, top man, Robbie. Thanks a lot for coming on, mate.
Not a problem, mate.